It is Oscar Msomi, and Bab MASEKO is here with us today on episode 36. Bab MASEKO, thank you so much, Bab. See, talk us about to have this conversation with you. Again, if anyone has ever come across it, it's episode 21 where we featured Bab MASEKO, and he was able to give us a lot of information about the African spirituality. And of course, and a lot of questions that are going to be covered today are coming from that episode, because Abantu had this request that it comes back. They needed him because we were doing it over Zoom, so we had a lot of technical problems. But today we're obviously live. He's come all the way down to Durban, and we're really grateful to stay in it. It's quite an honor. Bab MASEKO, let's jump straight into it. Bab MASEKO is part and parcel of Green Works. Yes. Kodwa, that's just one of the things that you do. You are obviously multi-talented and you have your hands in a lot of things. Yeah. Bab MASEKO singathi ubani nje?
MENZI MASEKO is a co-creator with other human beings in this experiment called Earth Life.
That's right.
The life on Earth. As a co-creator, I'm part, yes, of Green Works, which is an organization, a company that I started around 2015.
Yeah.
2014, I think I registered it around then. But already I had been doing, well, I registered it for the sake of working within the creative cultural economy.
Yes.
Basically helping artists to find, to professionalize their work.
That's right.
I was doing a lot of events, poetry events, creative writing events, heritage events, basically reminding ourselves of ourselves, of who we are.
That's right.
And reminding ourselves of our greatness. But the Green Works is called thus because it was also focusing on environmental awareness.
Yeah.
Basically bringing forth the environmental awareness angle to the creative arts, which is something that in corporates they talk about, and at policy level, governments, they legislate about it, they talk a lot about renewables and all kinds of green, what we call greenwashing in the environmental space.
That's right.
Whereby you can talk about it, but when it comes to implementing it, it becomes very difficult. So, Green Works was about bringing environmental and African awareness within the creative space. That's right. The creative arts.
This is obviously the reason you have poets, you have Abantu who actually work with their hands, who do sculptures, yes. And even yourself, you are an author, I believe.
Yeah, right. I don't like to I don't want to label myself as an author, as much as I do other books. I've got 2 books, but I really consider my book one.
Yeah. It's a continuation.
Yeah, because what is it called? Rock and Roll is my one book of essays. It's got essays, it's got some poetry. It's really socio-economic stuff and some spiritual essays, whereby I'm, again, searching. Sometimes writing is like a search, not always a revelation, but more like a search for meaning in the world around us. It's okay, why is my environment impoverished? Why is there corruption? Why is it violent? Then also, why is there so much beauty in the middle of all this chaos? How come this on? So it's a search for meaning in a way, but mainly, I mean, the title, if I just talk about the title of Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll, it speaks to, the rock part speaks to foundations.
That's right.
What is the rock? What are we founded on? But then the rule part speaks to governance and leadership. Issues of governance and leadership. Because, as I said, the book is socio-political and spiritual.
That's right.
So, the rock part speaks to, okay, it's into chemetic sciences, chemetic tradition, but more importantly, Ma'at, the whole issue of Ma'at.
That's right. Balance.
Balance, truth, equilibrium, righteousness. What is it, and how do we make it more than just an idea? How do we implement it? How do we live Ma'at?
That's right.
So one part of the book is about that, and trying to find that in the leadership space, in the political space, and in the community and activism space.
Basically, you're bringing it out of being an ideology. Because lots of these, you're absolutely right. Lots of these that we appreciate in text,
Yes.
And when it comes to the act of implementing and actually seeing it implemented and being active in a community or society, we find that there's always difficulties. But I like the fact that you touch on the fact that you speak of izinto that has to do with Ubuntu, because that's exactly something else that I want us to just have a look at. Ubuntu is known generally as something that is that binds us together as natural people, as a standing point of same ideologies and always being honest to the next person and forgiving and understanding, basically living harmoniously.
Yes.
But there's some kind of an ambiguity that comes about in it as well. Ubuntu, umuntu, abantu. All of these have this mtu attachment to it.
Yes.
And people don't really grasp what mtu is explaining or what it means. If Bab MASEKO can just bring us from the top to the bottom,
Yes.
in explaining umuntu lo oqhamuka in so many of our words in isiZulu mainly. What does it mean? Thank you so much. What does it mean?
It's interesting that you said from top to the bottom.
Yes, right.
You know, it goes again back to that what I alluded to when I said we are speaking about 9 civilization philosophy called Ma'at.
That's right.
Now the philosophy of Ma'at is Ubuntu. It's just another word for it. Zimbabwe they'll say it Unu, Unu, and they speak about Isintu Sabo. They call it Chivana.
That's right.
Chivana, which basically means Ilosigo Yabantu.
That's right.
It's the way of life.
Cultural
Abantu. Yeah. So now all these cultural articles or these cultural principles have foundations in the past.
Yeah.
I always say that I like the word foundations because you see, a foundation is built already on something. You cannot found something on something that's not already there.
Right.
So there is a ground, and that ground is Africa. And this Africa, the sacred land, I call Africa the whole of it, the sacred land.
Yes.
It's not a holy land. We are not after holiness, we are not after unholiness.
That's right.
We are founding our lives on the principles created by our great mothers and our great fathers.
That's right.
In the past, who are Bantu people, who are defined as Abantu people, whether it's self-definition,
yes,
whether it's a definition from the linguists of Europe who came, wanted to understand us, the anthropologists.
That's right.
Searching to
what does this mean?
Yeah, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Besides what this means, what they saw in us when they came,
Yeah.
they saw we are in harmony with nature. We are happy.
Yeah.
Yes, we have some struggles, we have some droughts, and maybe we have some conflicts over certain things, territories and whatever. But generally, our way of life and our systems, they seem to be intact. So,
that's right.
But they are very eager to also impose on us their systems and
take over this, yes, exactly.
so that we can be controlled, so that they can understand us, so that they can, So some of them study us, some of them impose on us.
That's right.
But all of them are basically looking for the same mission. I'm talking about the people that like to conquer, right?
That's right.
So, Ubuntu Betu is basically our grounding, our philosophical position.
That's right.
To say, as you were saying already, it's decency, it's harmony with nature, which is very important because it brings an understanding. You can't have Ubuntu if you don't respect the water.
That's correct.
You can't have Ubuntu if you don't respect the child.
Yeah.
Even if you die.
These are all elements of nature.
If you can't have Ubuntu if you don't respect the animal that you live among, that gives you other food or recreation, yes, or your surname. This animal gives you your surname.
Yes, exactly. It's a
This right. To my brother.
That's the normal way that we
so this Ubuntu
communicates with each other.
Yeah, so this Ubuntu is in our language, it's in our law, L-O-R-E, and it's also in our law, L-A-W. So Ubuntu is our natural law, our way of living. It's seen to say is that, but you were asking, sorry, I don't want to take too much time, but yes, you were asking about Ubuntu itself.
That's correct.
There are so many ways we can speak forever about just that one topic. I said I like it that you said let's start from above and below.
That's correct.
So in ancient Night Valley civilization, there is a maxim that says, "As above, so below."
Thank you.
Okusemazulwini makufana nasemhlabeni.
That's right.
Okusemkhathini kuyafana nokuphansi.
They even call it a hologram sometimes.
Yes, a hologram, depending on your vantage point, how you look at the
That's
universe,
correct.
with where you are standing in the universe. So thina bantu singabantu basezulwini, right? But ubuzulu bethu is not only restricted to abantu called Amazulu. Because Amazulu has also its own history, which is a 200-year development, which okay from
That's correct. But you can see the descendant, percentage of life.
So there's a family group called Zulu, but there's also is Ubuzulu, which is a spiritual Ubuzulu.
This is, we're talking about the people that descended from.
Now we're talking about the two people, with a Zulu beyond just the tribe or the ethnic group.
Thank you.
So Ubuntu is a word, is a seed of heaven, a star seed, what we could call it.
That's correct.
So umuntu wasezulwini. Kodwa mangithi umuntu wasezulwini, I don't mean a biblical heaven.
That's correct.
Or a Islamic heaven or a religious heaven at all.
Right.
I'm talking literally. Usivela
From
phezulu.
That's correct.
You're right. So ukuvela kwethu phezulu, I'm talking about ancient prehistory.
That's correct.
Where we trace our origin to a place in outer space.
That's correct.
In the stars, right? So we are star people.
That's correct.
We are Ngoma people, we are sound people, we are sonic people.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think you're also touching multiple numbers we are star people. Something that always comes up if you're doing some kind of research. The people of the Dogon people, they come from star Sirius. And even the Orion's belt points at the star.
Yes,
the tassels of the belt, they point at the star. It is the star in that sky. History that has also been found is that when they did research on the tribe itself, they found out that these people were able to map the stars. They were able to see that this is how the sun moves, or this is how the earth moves around the sun. This is pre what was happening when Orders Kanyilana came and gave us the knowledge that we believe they gave us. But most of the stuff is coming from here. We already had it. Is this related with the Dogon, because they are Africans, they come from the stars? Is it one story that is being painted here?
What is happening is life is a tapestry of stories.
That's right.
The reed mat. It is, I know I listen to my brothers and myself when we are talking on different parts of the media, where we are talking about our cosmology. I find that even when I listen to myself, when I listen to them, it's interesting and it is good. There's a lot of good knowledge that is being shared. But I find that even Utubaba who wrote beautifully about our African cosmology, especially Southern African cosmology.
Yes.
We who read a lot, we find that even though some of the stuff may be questionable in terms of historicity, what maybe what he says about Zimbabwe, or what he says about outer space beings, or what he says about certain rituals of Sintu and our origins, our creator beings. You may question it, you may analyze it, you may critique it, it's fine, but he set a tone for us to love ourselves.
Exactly.
Umkhulumuthi set a tone for us to love ourselves.
He was honoring the black man's story.
Yeah, he was honoring the black man's story because as much as many people may have been telling it orally, he made a decision to write it. There's a few who did. Bab MASEKO in poetry. And many others, if you go up north towards Congo, they write about their cosmology. You go to West Africa, the Yoruba people, the Ifa, the Ile Ife, and all that. The Dogon, you're speaking about the Dogon. The Dogon people are a people that have always been traveling throughout
the astral plane.
No, besides the astral plane. While we're still here on Earth.
Yes.
They have a history of themselves where they say they came from the east. So they came from Kemet, right? But which part of Kemet? Was it Kemet or was it Sudan? Was it ancient Egypt or was it Sudan? Was it Ethiopia?
Yeah.
Was it Kenya?
It's ambiguous in a way.
You see?
You can't really...
Yeah, because when you look at African mapping and you look at African history through European eyes,
that's right,
we get a lot of things lost in translation. Because we are not tribes, we are not nations, we are not so-called whatever. We are not ethnic groups.
Yes.
These are just terms for trying to group, divide and conquer.
Yes, right.
But more than anything, without malice, it's just to understand. They try to understand.
Exactly.
But we are very hard to understand because we are dynamic.
That's right.
We don't have a culture. We have cultures.
And they're all knitted together.
And they are a tapestry
that's right.
knitted together.
It goes back to the
but we are common people. When I say common, we are a related people.
That's right.
Some will say they come from Sirius B. Some will say they come from Orion. Some will say they come from Canis Major.
That's correct.
I'm using these European terms again.
These are constellations.
And yeah, some will say they come from Jupiter itself.
Yes.
No chase, right? And some will say no chase is Mars. Sorry. And some will say they come from this planet, that planet, that planet.
That's right.
So it's not like we are talking science fiction when we say we come from these places. It is traceable through our stories.
Correct.
It's traceable through our cosmological, cultural song life.
That's right.
I like to call it song life, which is basically our poetry, our chanting,
yes,
our method of chanting. Sometimes it's not just the words, but indlela ekwesenza ngayo, nendlela esihaya ngayo, nendlela esikuba ngayo is deeply spiritual and it's heavenly.
It is.
But also it's very much grounded to the earth.
Yeah.
But it's also very much deep underwater.
So
it's very much in the mountain.
As below.
So all these elements of nature, seen and unseen, we are part of those elements. So
that's correct.
We say Dabugo, well, for another person, Dabugo would mean origins or indigeneity.
Yeah.
But yes, we have a claim to this part of the earth called Africa and the rest of the world, because melanated people are everywhere, all over the earth.
But
we are the majority, but it's part from here.
That's right.
But you see, we are from here as much as we are from below as much as we are from.
It goes back to again those principles that we find in Kemet.
The cyclic, there's a cycle. We are traveling not only across the continent,
yes,
we are traveling.
Thank
you. We are like that.
Thank you so much. As you can hear, he does explain it in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. But while you're on that,
to simplify it,
because we are also referring to astral planes.
Yes.
In spirituality, you find even not just the motifs, but if there's any artist who is able to depict anything that is spiritual, figures with wings, figures that are made of light, pure energy fields, and vibrations. And these are the terms and words that they use. In astral plane or intergalactic travel, because spirituality, you will find it, and Amadumana already is within you. But when you are making reference of it, you always sort of have to look up to the stars when you are trying to define it, and you have to use words that are, one would say, that out of space words.
Other words.
Thank you so much. Astral plane, in your understanding of what it is, what it means, in your words, what would you say it's all about?
The astral plane is a dimension of being, which in our stories we speak of it both in dream time, yet it's not dreamland. It is not a projection of the mind.
That's right.
It is a dimension that exists. Just like the jungle is a different dimension from the city.
That's right.
And underground is a different dimension from underwater.
It's unknown to you.
Yes, and outer space is a different dimension from down here, right? Here, down here on the ground, right? But while we are here on the ground, we are able to discern amanyama planes. We are able to siyakwazi ukuthi sifike kulezo zindawo ezisekujuleni.
That's right.
Now ukujula kuhlukahlukene njengoba ngisho khona ukujula kwamanzi, khona ukujula komhlaba, khona ukujula komkhathi.
That's right.
Right. But khona nokujula komuntu. So umuntu engumuntu, I think I've said this before. Umuntu is called umenzo,
yes,
or umlungiswa. Right. So this person who's forever becoming, the person umuntu is a animal. This is more than an animal.
That's right.
Right, because an animal is instinctive, and an animal is spiritual too, but umuntu is spiritual in a different way than a normal animal.
That's right.
A person has projections, not just of the mind, but also of their inner being. You see, kunama levels of being.
That's correct.
From the physical to the light level to the electronic level, the nervous level, and then there's so the astral plane now is a plane. It's a zone of memory, whereby we are almost having, depending on what induces it, whether it's drugs or whether it is whatever induces it, whatever brings it up. Yoga, meditation, exercise,
yes.
Breathing, meditation, yeah. So whatever induces it, or trance.
That's correct. Dancing will do it too.
Yeah, various physical ways of inducing of bringing up that those projections. Ubone beyond the flesh, ubone beyond your eyes.
Yes.
So your eyes can only show you that far.
That's right.
But your intuition and your inner senses, your emotions, your psychology, and even the earth itself. The earth in a veil.
Yeah.
I look at it as a place with many veils.
Like an onion. They say that.
You look, peel it like an onion until you get to the end, and the end there's nothing. Yet there is something, because it leaves an impression.
That's correct.
On you, whether it's Yababa or Ya.
You know that it was here somewhere.
You know that it was here.
Yeah.
So it's similar with existence. Tinabantu, we exist on multi-dimensional levels. The astral plane is one of those multi-dimensional levels that exist.
Yeah.
Some of them we create it ourselves, psychically or through the bloodline, DNA, the memory. Some of it we project it towards the future or towards
these motifs that are otherworldly.
Yeah, you bring what is beyond it, what is before you. You're bringing it here. You are seeing it.
These things are there.
Perceiving it.
Yeah. Go back and like you said, there are multiple ways that one can find a ladder to climb up to these worlds. And sometimes I remember when I read Carl Jung, who was a German psychologist. He was there with Freud. He was talking about the fact that a person as a whole is made up of the conscious and the subconscious. Now you find that 20% is the conscious part of stuff that you are aware of, because you are living in the present and you are guided by these 5 senses that you are given, which of course is limited. You have more, you are unaware of them. Until you notice in the subconscious, this is where you find izinto that are called archetypes, where we find the normal way of living, where we find things that are common to be scared of. Like who grows up in a country that has no snakes. What these things are coming from the fact that in the archetypes of the collective unconscious, which is shared by the human spirit, by the human race, everyone, it's there. In the memory.
Strange.
When that thing is approaching, I have to evade it, although it's unknown to me. And the fact that we are in a world that is made of language also. So when we see these things that are otherworldly, we have no words for it, and we call it a trance. We call it these words that are defining things that are seance. Yeah. Right. Now, to work your way up these levels and find yourself in this space where you are seeing things from the future, you are being told ways of handling yourself or how to deal with the situation. Sometimes, this is why we consult them, because we go there so that they can go into the astral realm to open the veils. There you go. To pull these figures and ideas and bring them back to us, because for us sometimes we cannot make this crossing. Into yokufika khona, although ekhona vela ama-modes ukuthi uyakwazi ukuthi ungene khona in a whole lot of different ways.
It takes a long time.
That's right. Kuningi, like for meditation and all of those things, but ama-lamas have been trying it and have been working on it. Some do get that perfection. And there's one way which has sort of shown itself to be quite easy. So about the shamans, they also advocated for it, they were using it into their psychedelics. You are aware from psychedelics, and what's your take on them? What are psychedelics, and why do they allow us to come out of our bodies and enter into these spaces of alien world or alien world spaces?
Psychedelics are basic, various different plant medicines that are help us for the human race to navigate through the dimensions that we have that are available. That's all they are.